Here we go, we're going to set up some CO2 tanks. So I'll put the freshly nano-coated plate in the container, put my little cable tie down through the hole, loop it through, basically sit that down so it's sitting on the floor, so I just kind of crease that together so it sits flatter like that. Before I do the other side though, I want to connect the wires to it. So there's some freshly nano-coated wire here that I prepared earlier. Yeah, you don't want to use pliers for this stage or anything sharp that's going to scrape off the nano coating and compromise it. So I just try and squish it on the best I can. Try and get it connecting. Now I've got to hook this wire onto the zinc plate on the opposite side. This is a bit harder to do because it's still connected to the wall of the plastic. Actually, it might be easier to put this wire on before you connect it to the container, so you're not having to struggle with the container itself. There's a little bit of space in there, it's not helping. So just double that over. Alright, so that seems to be connecting well. Just bend that wire back into shape. Okay, so now I can put the other cable tie on. You've got to bring it in from the outside and then through. Okay, back through. So there you have it. Just crease that down a little bit so that when they sit in there, you just want them dangling down in there, so when you put your water in, you don't go too high, otherwise it'll leak out through your holes that you've made in the side. I've got to make a better way of doing this so that you don't have to put the holes in the side. Maybe some clips on the top that hang down would be better. So this is where we put the salty water into the container. So we've got a zinc plate on that side, a nano-coated copper on that side, connected by a nano-coated wire hanging into the tub, and then if you get distilled water from the supermarket, you've got to add sea salt to it, so not too much. So you just fill this up until you get to, I've got some lines on the container that tell me the depth that I want to go, and it's about there. This is a part of the, when you set up your pots for the CO2, you've got to add salt, and I just use Australian sea salt. I'm sure there's much better salts. You can get really good salts from the Dead Sea and all over the place. So anyway, for this video I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to my distilled water. And this distilled water is only a little bit in the container, so what I'm planning here is to add a little bit more to these tanks and just give it a little bit more salt in the water, because the water I used originally was just not quite salty enough, so I'm just going to increase the strength. This should sit for a little while and let it settle, but it's pretty much all dissolved in there. There's not very much left in there, so I'm just going to pour a little bit out of the top. Try not to get the salt crystals that are in the bottom into the water, just try and get a bit of the clear water on the top. Add a little bit into each one. So for this to work, you need nano-coated copper on one side, zinc plate on the opposite side, connected by a nano-coated wire, distilled water with salt in it, and this plastic container. You put those things together and you should produce plenty of CO2 GANS.